Hello everybody. Today let's talk about adverbs. Well, to know what an adverb is, we first have to talk about adjectives. An adjective is a word that we use to describe a noun, a person, a thing, a place, something like that. For example, the sentence "Next to the big tree there is a small dog." Big and small are adjectives. They describe the dog and the tree. This is especially important when there are maybe 2 dogs, or 3, or 4. Look at these 4. Now imagine I say, point at the dog. You don't know which dog I'm talking about. But if I say, point at the small white dog, suddenly you know exactly which dog I mean. But what if we don't want to describe a person or thing, but an action? In that case, we need an adverb. Look at these 2 pictures. In both pictures there is somebody who is talking, but of course they are not talking the same way. One of them, the little boy, is talking very loudly, while the other one, the little girl, is talking very quietly. Let's look at these words more closely. They have something in common. Both are based on an adjective, loud and quiet. And both of these adverbs end in "ly". Pause the video and write down these rules for adverbs into your folder under Grammar. Adverbs. Adjectives are used to describe nouns. Adverbs are used to describe verbs or adjectives. For example, the boy is talking loudly, but the girl is talking quietly. For most adverbs, you just use the adjective and add a "ly" at the end. But as always, there are also some irregular adverbs. For example, for the adjective good. Now, if this was a regular adjective / adverb, you would just add a "ly" at the end and you would have goodly. But goodly doesn't exist. If you want to use the adverb form of good, you need to use well. That means if you want to describe a thing, for example, the food, you can use good. The food is good. But if you want to describe the verb, the action, she cooks, then you have to use well. She cooks well. A similar thing happens with the adjectives fast and hard. Both of them don't change when you make an adverb out of them. So you can have a fast car, or you can say the car is driving fast. Same thing with a hard floor, the floor is hard. Or he works hard when describing the way he works. Also copy this grid. We will fill this out together at a later point, but I want you to have the space. Please also copy this grid, and then have a look at the text on page 72 in your book. That's the story we read last lesson. And find the adverbs of these adjectives in the text. Happy, careful, terrible, angry, and dramatic. Pause the video now. Okay, if these are the adverbs you found, good job. Happy becomes happily. Careful becomes carefully. Terrible becomes terribly. angry becomes angrily, and dramatic becomes dramatically. Look at the spelling of all of these adverbs. They all end in ly, but there are still some important differences there. For example, adverbs like happily and angrily. The adjectives happy and angry end in y. Happy, angry. Therefore, we need to replace that original y with an I. Happy, and then add the ly ending. Happily, angrily. Careful ends with an L. Here we just add the ly at the end, as with any other adverb. But the resulting adverb now has a double L. Carefully. Terrible ends with an E, but the E is silent. So the last letter we can hear is the L. Terrible. That E just disappears for the adverb. Now we have terribly. But for dramatic, we have to add something to make an adverb. We need to add an L there. The same thing happens with adjectives like basic, which becomes basically, or hectic, which becomes hectically. Here we have dramatically. Please take out your colors and highlight the adjective and adverb endings. Then let's add these examples to the grid under the rule. Here we go. This is the grid that we started. Now we can add all of the rest of it. So, when an adjective ends in y, like happy or angry, then the adverb will end in illy. So, happy becomes happily. When the adjective ends in l with a silent e, the adverb will end in ly. For example, terrible, terribly. When the adjective ends in l with nothing behind it, we need a double L, as in careful, carefully. And if the adjective ends in k, the adverb needs to end in cally, like dramatic, dramatically. Now, let's practice changing adjectives into adverbs. Do the following exercise to see if you can use the rule. All right, looks like you know how to make adverbs. Now, to repeat, adjectives are used to describe nouns, while adverbs describe verbs or adjectives. Can you spot the difference between the two? Take this test to find out. Great! Looks like you can spot the difference between the two. Good job! Now, the only thing we need to find out is if you know when to use an adjective and when to use an adverb. Look at your workbook. On page 54, number 16. See if you can complete the text with either the adjective or the adverb form. Pause the video here and do the exercise. All right. How was that? If this is what your solutions look like, you did well. London grew very quickly in the 19th century, and by the end of the Victorian period, about 6 million people lived there. Everybody used coal for cooking and for heating because it was cheap, but it produced a lot of smoke, and the air was usually very bad. Steam trains were the most important form of transport, and there were thousands of steam engine factories. This meant more coal and more smoke. All the buildings were black. People very often became seriously ill from the awful air. Good job! You did it! Now, finishing touches. Please write down the story from page 74, number 16, into your exercise books or folders under Exercise. Fill in the blanks with the correct adjective or adverb and highlight the noun, verb or adjective they describe. For example, the first sentence is: It was a fantastic tour of the globe. Fantastic is an adjective that describes the noun tour. A fantastic tour. Pause the video now and finish the rest of the text. All right, let's see if you've gotten everything correctly. These are the solutions for number 16. It was a fantastic tour of the globe. The guide explained everything clearly and told us lots of interesting and also funny stories. After the tour, he also gave us some good tips about where to eat well and cheaply near the globe. I checked the website carefully and it looked like the perfect history tour by bus. But I was very disappointed. Most guides work hard for the money and are very nice. Not our guide. He spoke to us so rudely, and the bus went past the sights much too quickly. If this is your solution, good job! You did it! Now it's your turn. Pause the video and write down these 5 adjectives. Nice, clever, heavy, happy and sad. Make adverbs out of them and write 1 sentence with each adverb. Then upload the results to Moodle. Well, I'm sure we're now all feeling like this little Easter bunny who apparently just finished his homeschooling task for the week. Just like you guys. I wish you wonderful Easter holidays and I hope that we will be able to see each other afterwards. Bye!